Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this evening, and welcome back to tonight's second half. Before we jump into tonight's second half, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and the membership are in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They all were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to tonight's second half, shall we? Alright guys, so for tonight's second half, I have an idea of how I want tonight's second half and the bonus to connect. You guys will see what I mean when tonight's bonus is aired, but tonight's second half is absolutely full of amazing information and terrifying experiences. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Tonight I have a special guest all the way from Australia. I have Bob and Linda. I shared Linda's encounter about a week ago. Really interesting encounter because she kind of got proof that this encounter happened. And I'll let Linda share that with you guys. Bob and Linda, how are you guys tonight?
Hello, Jeff. Good, thank you.
All right. So I guess right now, Bob's got some stuff that he's heard out in the bush, but right now we'll go to Linda and have Linda share her encounter. Linda, I'm going to turn the platform over to you. That way you can share what happened the day you saw Dogman. I may stop you and ask you a question, but usually I don't interrupt too much, all right?
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, that's good too.
All right. Platform's yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, well, it was 1999. We were taking our children to look at Christmas lights, and the area that we were going is all farmland, the area that we come from. So it was dark, and we're on a back road to look at all the Christmas lights in the country part. Pardon me. So we come along, and there was on the left-hand side, it just looked like a black dog, like sitting there. And as soon as our car lights hit it, it literally just stood straight up like a man. The best way to describe it, it was all dark. Upper body similar to a Rottweiler, with the sort of the back flanks and legs more like a greyhound. It sort of had a very small sort of part, but then went down sort of a smaller pelvis, and then the legs were quite muscly. But if a dog jumps up on you, they sort of, their legs are a certain way. This literally just stood straight up on its back leg. It's very hard to explain. And then we got closer, and it got back down, and it basically galloped past our car. Probably not the best way to explain it. It was that close. If my window was down, I could have touched it. It was a Ford sedan at the time, so I think Bobby worked out about 3 meters, and it run sort of past the car, and it's like, what did I just see? So it just wasn't computing. I said to my husband, what was that? He said, oh, it's just a dog. And I thought, yeah, dogs don't stand up like that and then fall back down and run past the car. So my 7-year-old was sitting in the back, and as I looked in the revision in the side mirror, it did the same thing. It literally just stood straight up and was staring at us driving away. And I'm like, okay, and I just couldn't comprehend what was happening. And I thought, and for years, and I never told anybody, and for years and years I've kept it to myself. And then Bobby was listening to your channel, and he decided, well, would you like to put the story out there? And yeah, so it's only sort of him and talking to you. So we were talking about 12 months ago, and my daughter come out. She's now 30. She come out and she said, oh, what are you listening to? And Bobby explained it to her, and she said, oh, that's like that thing we saw when we were Christmas light looking.
Wow.
She turned around and said, but she must have seen it run past the car. And I would love to have got her on to explain her experience, but we just couldn't organise it. Right. But she believes that when she looked back, she said it was standing up, and it gave me a fright. She said, and then that was it. Never ever had spoken about it. I didn't even realise that she had seen it, and it was only when it came out. And Jeff, literally, I was floored, because for years I thought, oh no, you know what I mean? That just didn't seem right.
Yeah, trick of the eyes or something like that.
As far as its facial features, I really couldn't tell you, because it was within the whole moment as it was going. Mm-hmm. To me, just as I said, looked like a dog, very, very slim waist, high up, but different shaped legs, and they were quite muscly. But when it dropped down, and I don't know more like a gorilla, how they lope along.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that was it. And then for her to confirm that, I thought, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That was a big day, that one.
Now, I know you were driving, so like height and weight is kind of a hard thing to judge, but how tall would you say it was?
Well, we'll see. Well, hubby was driving, so he didn't get much. He didn't see it, but it's maybe. I'm really bad. It was
like 3 foot high at the shoulder when it was on all fours.
Maybe 6 foot, Jeff. I'm at a guess.
Okay. So yeah. like a large man size kind of.
Yes, yeah, like a 6 foot man standing there, and very broad shouldered and sort of tapered down at the waist.
Okay.
And was quite muscly legs.
All right. Now, when you were, I know it was nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe there was some sort of reflection from the light on this thing's eyes. Were the eyes normal, or could you remember anything about the eyes?
No, I honestly couldn't say anything about the eyes. It was just the overall. Oh, what is that?
Right.
And it happens so quick. It's like a flash. And you think, did I really see that?
Yeah.
So, yes, I did. My daughter has confirmed.
Yeah, and that's even crazier for your daughter, like 20-something years later, to confirm, hey, I remember that. I can just imagine your jaw probably just dropped down.
I was gobsmacked. I just went, wow, yeah. And she said, it gave me a fright at the time, and I never ever said anything. And I think it was, I guess, because of the excitement of Christmas light looking, and at 7, something comes in your head and then it's gone as quick. So
yeah,
it just reminded her listening to your stories.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
so I was happy. As I said, I've never told anybody, but then Bobby said, well, would you like to put it out? And I thought, well, why not? Because
after we saw the bloody second one.
Yeah, because if someone around that time may think that they had seen something, and hopefully they can come forward. Every person that has an experience and can come forward, it builds the community bigger.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be aware of really what's out there.
Yeah, it validates, like, it validates people's, one person sees it, then another person, and you've got kind of a group at that point. All right, we've got two people, and then another person. Yeah, it's definitely.
And giving them the encouragement, because for years I've kept it to myself, and hopefully if I can, talk about it, then maybe other people might start, okay, it's time to tell our story. And as I said, it builds a community.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Thank you. And it's crazy that when Bob sent me that, I was kind of like, wow, that's 20 something years later. And her daughter says, I remember that. It's that's must have.
Yeah.
At least that kind of that was like, now you're like, I'm not crazy. I did see that huge dog thing.
I'm not, and I haven't got pregnant brain disease or anything. I'm still on the planet, and and it was really good because I could pinpoint it to a time and a year. So hopefully that would help other people if they've seen something around that time. Because as I said, I was pregnant with our youngest son. So
Okay.
yeah.
Definitely. That's crazy. Well, I appreciate it. Now, Bob's got some stuff that he's heard and seen, or, had some experiences and things that he's heard. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Bob now. So Bob can share some stuff with us as well that he's heard in Australia.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we talked before about your Dogman. Don't hear too many stories of them here.
Mm-hmm.
Found it hard to believe myself till I heard Linda's story, and then the one I got a real quick glimpse of a couple of months ago. But been listening to stories about yowies in Australia, which are our version of Sasquatch. I don't think they generally as big as the ones over there, probably because there's not much food from either. Just wallabies and roos. They haven't got anywhere near the game you've got over there.
Right.
But this place in New South Wales, we go through a fair bit when I'm heading down south to go trout fishing and see the family, the Pilliga. Camped there a few times, and then I started listening to bloody Bigfoot stories and stuff. Been a ton of sightings there. Truck drivers mostly going through there at night. But there was one little spot north end of the Pilliga Falls, I forget the name of it. Nice little spot to stop, overnight trip, because it's a 3-day trip from Queensland down to Victoria, 2.5 anyway. So always looking for overnight spots. And it's one little spot I've always been wanting to stop at. And I'm listening to Australian Yowie Hunters, I think it was, an Aussie Bigfoot channel. And there's this woman pulled up there one night, or one day, and goes wandering up the falls to have a look at the falls with her kids. And this bloody dirty great big yowie came tearing at them, screaming and yelling, chased them the hell out of there. He sees a copper, tells him what happened. Copper goes back. He goes to the police station a couple of days later to talk to that copper. So, did you see it? Copper was off on sick leave and never come back to work again.
Wow.
Scared him out of the job. But, I've been creeped out a couple of times there. Once when I was in my 20s, we were up this hydroelectric dams and irrigation dams and that. Anyway, we're on one, Dartmouth it's called, right up in the high country in Victoria. And we're out fishing, little tinnies and this bloody dirty great big lake. Pulled up this one little inlet where this little creek come in. Got out, we're walking up it to have a fish up this little creek. And there's all these dog tracks everywhere because we got wild feral dogs and dingoes and interbreeds. And there's this one spot there which is tons of dog prints, and all three of it just, gung-ho country boys in our early 20s.
Right.
We all just got creeps and got the hell out of there. It's like, what the hell, something just don't feel right, you know. And then about 3 years ago, we're down the Snowy Mountains, and we're at this campsite on a river, and there's this one little remote lake up in the mountains I wanted to go and fish, put my boat in. So 80k drive up through the mountains, up all these twisty, windy, bloody road, half a dirt. Got there, and something was in the back of my mind saying, don't put your boat in. And I'm like, what the hell? I just drove bloody 50 miles of shocking mountain roads to put my boat in, but something in my head just kept saying, don't put your boat in. Something's going to happen if you do. So reluctantly, I didn't put my boat in. I just fished off the bank for a while, but it just didn't feel right. It was just creeping me out the whole time I was there.
Right.
God knows what was eyeballing me or saying, I don't want you here, man. At the time, I thought bloody, you know, yowie. But, yeah, it could have been one of them other bloody big upright walking wolf things too.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
yeah, so, yeah. And then I got a little bit of it not long ago, just fishing my favourite lake, fishing for bass, Australian bass. Similar to your bass, but not quite the same. I've gone up this one little inlet that I've fished in God knows how many times before, and I've got the creeks in there too, like, what the hell? Like something had eyes on me saying, you know, piss off, you shouldn't be here.
Right.
I thought that's what I sort of got out of there fairly quick. Went back 2 days later, nothing. So something was eyeballing me there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, in stateside. Well, I mean, you've listened to the channel. When people are out in the woods and they've got that feeling, it's the best thing to do is leave.
Yeah, because, I mean, seriously, man, there's nothing in the Australian bush that's worth spinning out about much, like, you know, not to rough natives anyway, other than bloody other people. It's like the most dangerous thing you can find out in the bush, because we're used to snakes and all that sort of shit don't bother us, you know.
Yeah.
But, like I used to tell me boy, he'd hear noises. We're living out in the bush, he'd hear noises at night. I said, it's all right. I said, there's nothing out there can hurt you except other people, maybe. Unless you hear a person, then you worry. Before you hear animals, there's nothing going to hurt you. But, yeah, I sort of know a little bit better now, but there are the occasional one that it's definitely worth worrying about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, same over here. I mean, unless there is a Dogman or we're having issues with feral people as well in our state parks a lot of times now. And, you know,
your bears are a bloody spin out. Like, you think we're mad going fishing amongst bloody crocodiles, but a lot of crocodiles are only on the water when you're fishing.
Yeah.
You've got bears in your bloody backyard raiding your rubbish bins, for Christ's sake. Give me crocs anytime.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people in America are afraid of Australia, and yet we have bear and wolves and Bigfoot, Dogman. You guys got Bigfoot and Dogman, but still, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Now you guys...
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what?
And so it's just that most of the stuff that can kill you in Australia is so bloody small, it's not scary.
To you guys, it's not. To people in the States, it is.
Yeah, whereas what kills you is over there are dirty, great, big mongrel things, you know, with big claws and big teeth.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least we only got 100 yards away from the water and we're safe from the crocs.
Very true. Now you guys are living the kind of like the Voyager life. You guys are in a camper going around the country. Is that what I recall you guys saying?
Yeah, grey nomads they call us here.
Okay.
No at home base, just the caravan and the ute, little gooseneck ute behind Nissan Navara. And yeah, just travel from fishing spot to fishing spot, basically.
That's the life right there.
Oh yeah, brilliant, mate.
We're actually coming home about the second one that we saw on the way home from our last trip, Jeff.
What did you see?
So, well, last time we came back to Gatton, we spotted one. Linda spotted it. I seen a quick glimpse. I looked up because being an old speed freak, I always got my eyes in the mirrors, look at coppers behind me and everything else, And so I've always got my eyes in the mirror, especially when I'm towing, looking at the gauges. I've looked up and just saw this flash of light brown and black fur disappearing along grass on the left-hand side of the road. And I said, what the hell was that? And Linda's seen it from about halfway across the road, but I'll let her tell you. She's the one that actually seen it.
Yeah, basically it was because I was looking out the window, just checking out the scenery, and by the time I looked back at the road, it was sort of in the road, and it was so quick. It was the shape of a dog, but it had a different shaped head. It was very small around that loin area, and then it just sort of bounded into the grass, and it was gone. And that was
on two legs.
It was on two legs, running across the road, and then it went down on fours and went into the grass.
Man, this thing covered.
It was so quick.
Covered 60 odd yards in a second and a half or 2 seconds.
Wow.
It was like 10 times than any bloody kangaroo.
Yeah.
So we're driving along and we're talking about it. Did we? Didn't we? Yes, we did. We're driving along. So we came into the next little town, and they had a big billboard up baiting wild dogs. And it's funny because I remember saying to Bobby, I wonder what sort of dogs they're baiting. It was just 5 minutes before we'd seen this creature. And then we go to town and they're baiting dogs. They had a bit of a giggle over that. So
yeah, they think they're baiting dingoes. They've got some bloody worse than dingoes there, man.
Yeah. It was different. It was different. It wasn't big, but it was big.
And just stupid fast.
Yeah.
And the colors, I remember the colors were like patchy or something.
Yeah, it was like a brown brindley.
Yeah, a little like a brindle dog that's flash I got of it.
Okay.
Possibly a brindle.
There's no such thing as a kangaroo that colour.
Right.
They don't exist, man.
Yeah, it just,
And if it was a dog, the angle I seen it on, it would have been on 2 legs anyway.
Yeah.
Couldn't have, if it was a dog, I wouldn't have seen it where I saw it.
No dog moves like that.
That's kangaroo because it was upright. But then I thought, hang on, there's no such thing as a brindle kangaroo.
Yeah.
So, I guess brindle would probably be the better way to describe it than, as we said, patches. But, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. Now,
and then the dog signed 5 minutes later was like, someone else has seen this too, haven't they?
Now, you both kind of saw it. So, like, Linda, you... with comparison to the height-wise of the first one you saw, I know it was like 20-something years ago, but was this one... Pardon, I'm sorry?
It was smaller.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't as big as the first one that I saw. Different shape, too. It was bigger in the chest, smaller in the back, but certainly not as big as the one I saw years ago, no.
Might have been younger.
Yeah, it could have been a juvenile or something.
Yeah, seeing it stand up and then getting sort of your brain tries to click in and then you see it running over and then go down on all fours. Yeah, no dog does that.
Right, and especially with speed.
It was so fast. I couldn't even tell you what the head or any shape or anything about the head. Just it was that fast to flash out the body.
Yeah. And it was in odd sort of country too. It was mostly pine plantation. And in Australia, in pine plantations, you don't get much of anything. No bugger or wildlife or anything, maybe a few roos, And on the other side of the highway was all farmland, so I suppose there'd be the odd sheep or cow, but you're not the sort of country you'd think would support a lot of them, eh?
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's another reason why it was so small is because there wasn't a lot of other,
No. Yes.
Not a lot of tucker for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's,
Didn't make it any slower, though, I can tell you that.
and then the coincidence. I mean, what's the coincidence there? There's a sign with baiting dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baiting wild dogs.
Yes, we aren't the only ones that have seen that thing and seen the results of it tearing into livestock.
Yeah, baiting wild
Absolutely.
dogs. And we sort of had a bit of a giggle. I said, oh, that's just too much of a coincidence. So that's odd. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of, one of you guys mentioned, do you guys get a lot of, like, in the news or in the paper over there? Do you guys get a lot of reports of like livestock mutilations or no?
No,
No.
not that we're aware of.
Okay.
We don't watch mainstream TV. We don't see the news or.
But
Okay.
even though, growing up all over the years, it's not really a thing here as far as I know.
Okay. All right.
But then you do get a lot of stock torn up by bloody wild dogs.
Right.
So, of course, if anything else was out there ripping up the stock, it would just be reported as a wild dog attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the actual animal mutilation type phenomena, haven't heard of that either.
No, we're not aware of that.
And stock being killed by wild dogs is common as buggery.
Okay. Now, how big are the wild dogs over there? Like, what's the average size of a wild dog?
Your average wild dog would be maybe smallish Labrador size.
Dingo size.
Like a dingo's the size of like skinny Labrador.
Okay. So like 60 pounds, somewhere around there?
Yeah, maybe. Dingoes aren't real dogs. Yeah, maybe. 6 pounds, 30 kilos. Yeah, maybe. Something around that. They're not a real big dog. Apparently they're an Asian wolf.
Okay.
The dingo. So, but a lot of the wild dogs you get here are just plain straight out feral. So, you get German Shepherds, dogs that size. And then they interbreed with the dingoes. It's getting hard to find a purebred dingo in parts of Australia because there's so many feral dogs they breed with.
Right. Like we have coy dogs over here. There's, they were coyotes and now they're coy dogs because they're breeding with dogs that ran away from their owners and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the interbreeds and the ferals are a lot more dangerous than the dingoes. So dingoes generally don't go near people. They're scared shitless of people.
Okay.
Except places like Fraser Island where there's tons of tourists.
And people feed them, which is the wrong thing to do.
Some tourists feed them, they get used to people. But out in the bush, dingo gets wind to you, it's gone, man.
Huh.
But feral dogs, they'll have a go at you.
Really?
I know a couple of farmers that have been stalked by feral dogs. Had one in front taking their, attracting his attention while the other one snuck up behind him. So, but yeah, they're basically just, average size domestic dogs gone wild.
Okay. All right.
And a bred in the bush too, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's not a very large, like you said when we were talking with the crocodile would be the biggest predator kind of. You don't have bear, you don't have wolves. The largest predator over there, land predator, would be a feral dog.
Yeah, unless you class pigs. I mean, we got wild pigs, so right. Nasty in some places too. But I mean, people getting attacked by pigs is few and far between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the dogs are your biggest worry out bush.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Huh. But not that big. They're not as big as your wolves get.
No. I mean, we've got wolves 200 pounds sometimes. People have spotted it. That's
just like an average house.
We got nothing like that here.
House dog.
Yeah, German Shepherd size would be the biggest you'd normally see.
All right.
Which is bloody.
That's still that's big for being out in the woods or the bush.
Yeah.
Coming across something like that. So, well, do me a favor. Do me a favor, please. If you guys are, I know you're heading home, and in your caravan very soon. But if you guys go back out, please keep me in the loop if you see anything on your road trips, because I'd love to hear more from you. We're gonna kind of end the interview now. Do me a favor, don't hang up. But is there anything that you'd like to guys to say to the audience?
Oh, just,
Be careful.
Be careful. We have got them in Australia. They're few and far between. Like, I've been poking around the bush all my life. I'm 61 now, and I've spent more time in the bush than not in it. And I've only ever seen a quick glimpse of one.
Mm-hmm.
Something creeps you out in the bush, just turn around and go back tomorrow,
Yeah.
And I think, people are out there that have stories they've kept to themselves. Bring it out and, make the community bigger, make people aware for their own safety.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to know these things are out there.
Yeah.
But yes, we will certainly keep you up to date. Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate you. I really do.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Don't hang up, okay?
No problem.
All right, guys. So, like I said, I narrated Bob and Linda's encounters just recently when I was doing new subscriber encounters. I know there was kind of some distortion, but I kind of wanted to share with you like the locations. Now, the sighting that Linda had with her first husband was in the area of Mulgoway area in Queensland. Now, there was actually some sightings of a creature called the Mulgoway Yahweh for a while out there. The crazy thing is that what she saw, I'll just quickly, she saw what looked like a bloody big dog on the side of the road about 30 yards ahead, which stood up on its hind legs when the headlights hit it. As the car got close, it dropped down onto all fours and ran alongside of the car for a few seconds at about 50 miles an hour, close enough for her to touch it with the window down. It stopped. Then, as the car went past, it stood up again, which she saw by the light from the taillights in the rearview mirror, or the side rear view. While it was running, its back was higher than the window sill on a Ford Falcon, around 4 feet. It was at least 6 feet tall when standing. It reminded her of a muscular Rottweiler with a slender waist. It ran, or more accurately, loped, with the gait more like a rabbit or a hare, front legs moving together than the rear moving together. 20-something years later, 23 years later, her daughter is visiting with them. Bob is listening to my show and says, "What are you guys listening to?" And they kind of explain to her. And she says, "That's what we saw when I was 7 when we were looking at Christmas lights, going to get Christmas tree." So there's confirmation. And then in the area of, they were traveling back to Gatton, one of Bob's favorite fishing places. We were about 10 to 15 minutes from Crow's Nest on a 2-lane road on a pine plantation. They saw what looked like a dog running on 2 legs. The way they described it. So I had taken my eyes off the road for a couple of seconds to check my mirrors and gauges. When I looked up, I saw something upright, like a kangaroo, disappear into the long grass on the farmland side of the road. I only got a glimpse of its back, but the color was wrong for a roo. It was light brown with patches of black, like a brindled dog. No kangaroo could move that fast to cross that distance from the pines to the farm fence in 2-second stops. I said, "What is that?" to Linda. Linda said she only saw it from about halfway across the road. It looked like a large dog running at a ridiculous speed on its hind legs. She described the coloration as the same way. It was about 5 to 6 feet tall, if that. Its body shape was a bit like a greyhound, large chest and small waist, probably 5 feet. But then shortly thereafter, as they're driving, they see like a billboard that says a sign warning for wild dog baiting in the area. And Linda's comment to Bob was, "What sort of dogs are they baiting?" There weren't bloody dogs, that's for sure. All right, guys, so not only does it happen in the United States, the government working with the media and whoever else to hide these very strange instance creatures, attacks and stuff. It does happen in Australia. Actually, there was a time about 7-8 years ago, there was an area in Australia where a large amount of hikers ended up just disappearing. So like the missing 411 isn't just in American federal forests or state forests. It's worldwide. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Australia is a very, very beautiful place, but also a place of danger. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Guys, thank you for supporting the channel. Your support is what makes this channel so special and what continues to make it grow and go. With that being said, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real, they are out there, and they are dangerous. If we share a little bit of info with the people that we love and care about, it may just save their life someday. Until next time, God bless.